For decades, Intel was the name behind the world's most important technology. If you owned a computer at any point in the last 30 years, there's a very high chance it was powered by an Intel chip. The company didn't just compete in the tech industry, it helped create it. From memory chips to microprocessors, Intel played a major role in shaping the modern digital world. The idea was simple but powerful. Put more computing power into smaller and smaller chips and do it faster every year. This idea became famous as Moore's Law, introduced by Intel co-founder Gordon Moore. According to this principle, the number of transistors on a chip would double roughly every 2 years. For a long time, Intel followed this rule better than anyone else. But today, things look very different. Intel is no longer leading the industry. In fact, it is trying to catch up. The most advanced chips in the world are now being made by companies like Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company and Samsung. These companies are producing smaller, faster, and more efficient chips than Intel. And these chips power everything from smartphones to artificial intelligence systems. So how did Intel fall behind? To understand that, we need to go back to the beginning. Intel was founded in 1968 by two pioneers of Silicon Valley, Robert Noyce and Gordon Moore. At that time, computers were large, expensive machines, and the idea of a personal computer didn't really exist yet. Intel started by making memory chips which were in high demand. Very quickly, the company grew. Within just a few years, Intel became a major player in the semiconductor industry. But competition soon arrived, especially from Japanese companies that could produce memory chips faster and cheaper. By the mid-1980s, Intel had lost most of its memory chip market. This forced a major decision. Instead of continuing to compete in memory, Intel shifted its focus to microprocessors, the brains of computers. This decision changed everything. Intel developed some of the first widely used CPUs, including the famous x86 architecture, which became the standard for personal computers. As the personal computer industry grew, Intel grew with it. By the 1990s and early 2000s, Intel was dominating the market. Its processors powered most PCs around the world. The company was ahead in both design and manufacturing. It controlled the entire process, designing chips and building them in its own factories. This model is called an integrated device manufacturer, or IDM. At that time, this approach worked perfectly. But then the industry started to change. Around 2010, smartphones began to replace personal computers as the most important consumer devices. Companies like Apple started designing their own chips specifically for mobile devices. Instead of building factories, they outsourced manufacturing to companies like TSMC. This was a major shift. Building advanced semiconductor factories, also known as fabs, became extremely expensive. It can cost over $10 billion and take several years to build a single facility. Because of this, many companies decided to focus only on designing chips and leave manufacturing to specialized companies. TSMC built its entire business around this idea, and it worked. While Intel continued doing everything chip design and manufacturing, TSMC focused only on making chips better and faster. Over time, this allowed TSMC to move ahead in manufacturing technology. At the same time, Intel made a few critical mistakes. One of the biggest was missing the smartphone revolution. Intel had the opportunity to make chips for early iPhones, but decided not to move forward. This decision cost the company a massive opportunity, as mobile devices became the dominant form of computing. Another issue was delays in manufacturing. Intel struggled to move from one generation of chip technology to the next. For example, its transition to 10-nanometer chips was delayed by several years. In the semiconductor world, delays like this are very serious because competitors continue moving forward. While Intel was struggling, TSMC and Samsung kept improving. They reached smaller chip sizes like 7 nanometers and even 5 nanometers, which are faster and more efficient. These advanced chips are now used in high-end smartphones, data centers, and AI systems. Meanwhile, Intel was still trying to fix its delays. Today, Intel is producing chips at a larger scale, which puts it behind in performance and efficiency compared to its competitors. In simple terms, its technology is no longer leading the industry. And this is where the $160 billion gamble begins. Intel's new CEO, Pat Gelsinger, believes the company can turn things around. His plan is bold and expensive. Intel is investing tens of billions of dollars into building new factories across the United States and Europe. The goal is clear: catch up to TSMC and Samsung and eventually surpass them. Intel is not just trying to improve its own chips. It also wants to become a manufacturer for other companies. This means building chips for businesses like Amazon, Qualcomm, and even government organizations. This strategy is called Intel Foundry Services. It's a big shift for the company. For years, Intel mainly made chips for itself. Now, it wants to compete directly with TSMC in the foundry business. But this is not easy. TSMC has years of experience and strong relationships with major tech companies. Intel is trying to enter this space while also fixing its own technology problems. At the same time, that's what makes this a gamble. The company is spending massive amounts of money on new fabs, new technologies, and new business models. Some estimates suggest Intel's total investment could reach over $160 billion in the coming years. But there's a risk. Building factories takes time. Developing new chip technology takes even longer. And there is no guarantee that Intel will succeed. If the plan works, Intel could return to the top of the semiconductor industry. If it fails, the company could fall even further behind. Right now, the entire tech world is watching closely. Because this is not just about one company. Semiconductors are the foundation of modern technology. Everything from smartphones to cars to military systems depends on them. And whoever leads this industry holds a lot of power. Intel knows this. That's why it is betting big. To understand Intel's current strategy, you need to look at what the company is building right now. Across the United States and Europe, Intel is constructing massive semiconductor factories. These are not normal buildings. Each one is a highly controlled environment designed to produce some of the smallest and most complex components ever created. These factories are called fabs. Inside a fab, chips are built layer by layer using extremely advanced machines. The process is so precise that even a tiny particle of dust can ruin an entire chip. That's why these facilities are cleaner than hospital operating rooms. Workers wear special suits, and the air is tightly controlled. But the real challenge is not just building the factory. It's what goes inside. To manufacture advanced chips, companies rely on machines made by ASML. These machines use a technology called extreme ultraviolet lithography, or EUV. In simple terms, they use very small wavelengths of light to carve tiny circuits onto silicon wafers. Each of these machines can cost more than $150 million. And you don't just need one. A single fab can require hundreds or even thousands of tools, each costing millions of dollars. This is one of the main reasons why chip manufacturing has become so expensive. Only a few companies in the world can afford to operate at this level. Right now, Taiwan's semiconductor manufacturing company is leading in this area. It adopted EUV technology earlier than Intel and scaled it faster. This gave TSMC a major advantage in producing smaller and more efficient chips. Intel, on the other hand, was slower to adopt this technology. This delay created a gap. For example, while TSMC was producing 5-nanometer chips, Intel was still struggling to perfect its 10-nanometer process. In the semiconductor industry, this difference is significant. Smaller nodes generally mean better performance and lower power consumption. So why did Intel fall behind technically? One reason is complexity. Intel tried to push too many innovations at the same time. Instead of making gradual improvements, it aimed for big leaps in technology. This made the manufacturing process harder to manage and increased the chances of delays. Another issue was internal decision-making. Over the years, Intel had multiple leadership changes. Different CEOs had different strategies. Some focused more on design, while others focused on manufacturing. This lack of consistency slowed down progress. Meanwhile, competitors stayed focused. TSMC concentrated only on manufacturing. Apple focused on designing powerful and efficient chips. Companies like NVIDIA and Qualcomm followed similar models. Each company did one thing and did it well. Intel tried to do everything, and over time, that became a disadvantage. Now, under the leadership of Pat Gelsinger, the company is trying to fix these problems. His plan is called IDM 2.0, and it has 3 main parts. First, Intel will continue designing and manufacturing its own chips. Second, it will outsource some production to companies like TSMC when needed. And third, it will open its own factories to produce chips for other companies. This third part is especially important. Intel wants to become a major foundry, a company that manufactures chips designed by others. This puts it in direct competition with TSMC and Samsung. To support this plan, Intel is building new fabs in places like Arizona, Oregon, and even countries in Europe. Governments are also supporting these efforts. In the United States, there is a push to increase domestic chip production for economic and security reasons. Right now, a large percentage of advanced chips are made in Taiwan. This creates a risk because of geopolitical tensions and natural disasters in the region. By building more fabs in the US and Europe, Intel is positioning itself as a local and reliable manufacturer. This could attract customers who want to reduce their dependence on overseas production. But again, there are challenges. Even if Intel builds these factories, it still needs to match or exceed the technology of its competitors. That means developing smaller and more efficient chips, improving production yields, and delivering on time. And this is where things get uncertain. Intel has already faced multiple delays in recent years. Its roadmap includes new technologies that are expected to launch over the next few years, including chips built on what it calls Intel 4 and Intel 3 processes. Beyond that, the company is working on even more advanced nodes, including something called 18A. These names might sound technical, but the idea is simple. Intel is trying to catch up and then move ahead in terms of chip performance and efficiency,